It's been pretty much a month since Skaventide released. This weekend saw the end of the Slaughter of Hel Crown gaming event, where all of the players globally playing Stormcast and Skaven have been able to submit the results to their battles to influence what was going to happen in the story setting. Not only have Games Workshop announced who actually won that fight this weekend, but also they've given us a whole slew of new reveals and some really interesting news right at the bottom of that reveal article. In this video, that's what we're going to talk about. Let's get into it. Hi everybody, I'm Wayne. As I said in the intro, this week I want to talk about those new reveals. That's right, the Slaughter of Hel Crown has finished and the Skaven came out victorious. Those verminous, skittering little sods have managed to defeat the Stormcast, at least for now. But who knows what will happen in the larger story narrative. We'll find out later down the line. But for now, what I want to talk about is all of those juicy reveals that Games Workshop have given us, and my days have there been a couple of absolute bangers. And that secret bit of news right at the end of the article, that's the thing that's got me so excited. And if you make it all the way to the end of this video, it's going to be a long one, you don't like to talk, then I do appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the channel, and those Stormcast videos are coming from next week. Tutorials on how I did my Ruination Chamber and the lightning effect, all of the other bits and pieces I'll be breaking down over the next 3 to 6 weeks, depending on how many videos I do. But yeah, I'll reiterate that at the end of the video. But until then, let's jump in, have a look at these reveals. So here we are then, the Slaughter of Hel's Reach campaign. I highly recommend, if you've not already, take a look at the article yourself. I'm not going to go through it line by line. What I am going to do is I want to take a look at these models. So the first thing that's been announced, and this is the big one for me, Vizzik Skour, Prophet of the Horned Rat. Now, this model, I have to say, is so good. So good. The previous versions of it just did nothing for me, I have to admit. I'm not a Skaven fan at all, but am I going to pick this model up and get it painted? Oh, absolutely. This is just, as far as I can't even talk, I'm that excited about it. For me, there are a few models that I count as, you know, the pinnacle of Games Workshop's work, of what their sculptors put out, and I would love to know who it was that sculpted this particular mini, because this is fantastic. For me, there's been the Great Unclean one, was a model that I wanted to paint ever since I got back into the hobby, and it was beyond reproach fantastic for me. Then there was Vashtor that came out last year or the year before, the Archifane in 40k. I know it gets mixed reviews and I don't really care about the rules, but as a model I think it's absolutely stunning. It does everything that I want from a model and it does it so well. But this guy is making me want to collect rats. I'm 100% not going to get any more rats really. I've got a reasonable size force that came in the Skaventide box, but I want to add this guy to my army and I really want to paint him. This thing has so much potential. Look at the detail on it. I mean, just look at this little scamp of a mouse up here with his warp stone. It's great. There is so much to love about this. There's so much detail in it, and it just has presence that some of the other Vermin Lords haven't had. It looked a little bit Jim Henderson before, but I think this has taken a turn more towards the grim dark, dare I use that word, that term, aesthetic. And certainly the paint style, even for Games Workshop, I think this really does kind of stand out. It's not how I would do it, but I think in terms of highlighting the individual parts of the model and drawing your eye around it, it's great. I strongly recommend you head over to Warcom and have a look at this one yourself, guys. Definitely do it. It's so worth it. Next up, we've got, Krittok Foulblade. This guy reminds me of Watto from Star Wars Phantom Menace. Really not feeling it personally, but I do like this blade. I think it's something about the red armor, and I know that's the colour of the clan that it belongs to, but for me, this guy is doing note for me. This little chap down here, little scary scamp, the other little dude, look really good. I love the detailing on it, but the actual look of it just doesn't work for me as a Skaven model. I can see me using this perhaps as a Nurgle model, and I could see it working in Clan Pestilence perhaps. Give it some boils, bit of an interesting themic base. This rat down here at the front as well. He is he's getting some love as this little rat, because he's used on so many different Warhammer models. It's untrue what's happened there. We've jumped down way too far. Right, let's get back to it anyway. So next up we've got the Master Moulder. I think this is the weakest of the releases, to be honest. It looks a little bit derpy. It's got that Igor vibe from some of the old horror films, doesn't it? I think it gives me feelings of one of the, is it the Drakari? It's not a homunculus, but it's got that feel to it for me. It's kind of one of those grotesques mixed with a Skaven, and it doesn't work. There's perhaps too much going on, too much detail, and I don't think it fits in with the aesthetic. It is like a mashup of the Drakari, Skaven, and dare I say even the Admech. It feels like they had a lot of ideas, and perhaps it was working on a couple of different models at the time, but it's messy. This one is very messy. That is the point of it, but does nothing for me. Sorry, Master Moulder, but you're an easy miss for me. Unless you've got amazing rules or something, people go nuts for you. But we've got these new looking Stormvermin. Now these are all really cool looking, I've got to admit, as general chaff infantry units go. They're a little bit more interesting than the clan rats, but for the most part the heads just look really boring. This chap down here with the mouth open, yeah, perhaps a little bit more interesting, but for the most part not overly bothered about them. We'll see. What do you guys think? This guy looks alright, doesn't it, with the banner and the old head up here with the skin peeling back. That's pretty nasty. Liking that a lot. Okay, so the next reveal. Now this is 100%, if I have ever seen Dark Mechanicum, this is it. This model was clearly just, it's a Ratty Belisarius call. And it just looks like Dark Mechanicum for me. I mean, other than the head being clearly Skaven, this could pass as that faction. Again, this is another one that I'm not massively fond of. I don't think it works in context. There's just too much going on for rats. My view of them is they're a little bit more like snide and snickety, and they're just like whereas this is just takes it to a whole another level of grimdark, I think. It's got some nice features, but I can't get away from the fact that it just looks like Admech / Dark Mechanicum for me. So again, another easy miss. Perhaps it's the paint job. I'll be interested to see what you guys do once we get them in hand. So do hit me up down in the comments if you're going to pick this guy up and you paint him. Ping me over on Instagram. I would love to see what you guys do with it. Now this is an interesting one. The Warlock Galvaneer. It's got a lot of interesting features, shall we say. The mouth doesn't work for me personally. It just feels like that was either photoshopped or something's going on there. There's a whole uncanny valley. The nose looks like it's squiff on the body, and the weapon looks like something that a dwarf would be rocking. Perhaps the Hearthkin? I don't know. Leagues of Votan kind of vibes there. Again, it's alright. It kind of does what it says on the tin, I guess. It's great that you Skaven lovers are getting all of these new models. Absolutely down with that. But this one, I said the other one was the weakest of the bunch, didn't I? But I might be lying. I think it may be this one. Yeah, it is. It's this one. I'm done with this one. Let's move on. Now these guys have an amazing name. Globadiers. Globadiers indeed, instead of Grenadiers. Acolyte Globadiers. Sorry, we should give them a full title, shouldn't we? These guys are just fun. At first I thought they had jump packs, because I'm not familiar with the overall Skaven lore and what their units are. But this chap in the centre, just releasing that glob, whatever they're called, just looks so fun. Really feeling this. These really do bring a little bit more flavour, I think, to a faction that's, again, I think it's a mixed bag in terms of like the aesthetic. I really like the clan rat side of things and the Norlord and how just like visceral and animalistic they look. Whereas these, I think, draw that nice comparison between a little bit of tech and a little bit of bestial kind of look, and fuse it together in a way that's unique. Because I think it's quite easy with the brassy look to just instantly think dwarf, and that's not what these guys are, is it? But yeah, these are great. What do you guys think? Now, what else have we got? A Warpspark weapon battery. These are way more fun than the Giselles, is it? They're in the Skaventide box. I'm enjoying how these look. I think it's a really good multi-unit or multi-model unit that really brings that ratty madness flavour. I mean, the look on this guy's mouth is just completely balmy. Again, it makes me think of Jim Henson. That's not a bad thing. But I'm loving how these guys look. These are some of the best units, I think, from the reveal. They just look absolutely cracking. The Warp Grinder. This is, again, an interesting look. And I think it could easily be repurposed to be something dwarfer. So, again, I wonder if they're playing with that juxtaposition between the dwarfs and the Skaven. I know that was a thing in the End Time books. I think it was book 4 that was heavily Skaven with it Skikrot? The Skaven-y dude that was in there was really, really interesting. What do you think of this one? I'm not sure there's loads to be said. I like the detailing on it, but again, it's pretty much more of the same. I'm not overly keen on the 2 character sculpts, but the weapon itself looks interesting. I think there needs to be more going on with it, just to kind of elevate it. I don't really know what its purpose is in the army list, so it may be one of those things that you just have and it's there to give buffs or something, but yeah. Now, Doom-Flayers, Mad Max rats, boom, 100%. This is what they are. They've got, I think they've got potential. I'm not overly keen on them, but I think as conversion fodder to make these a little bit more interesting, I think there's definitely something here. The idea is there, but it makes me think Nurgle. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why it's got that Nurgle vibe for me. I think it's perhaps the studs, and it looks like there's those flesh mower things that the bloat drones sometimes you see them rocking around with. I think I'm just getting my my factions mixed up, but that's immediately what comes to mind for me. Again, let me know what you guys think. I'd be really interested to know. Am I being overly harsh on these? But still, I mean, everything pales in comparison to that ridiculously cool looking Vermin Lord at the start. Now, the thing that I really wanted to talk about is this. It's the new format of the battle tomes. Specifically, this bad boy. Getting a smaller Gamers Edition version of it that fits better on the tabletop, that's soft back, that comes with cards and a little sleeve to put everything together. So you've got all of your faction stuff in one place, all of your rules there. You're ready to go. That with the General's Handbook, boom, 2 books, ideally. And then if they change anything, perhaps we'll just get updated versions of these cards that you can buy separately. And you don't have to be hunting through 3, 4, 5 different books for your rule sets. It's all in one, easy to get to, easy to use, easy to transport place that fits, ideally, in a limited space on the tabletop. Yes, I'm loving that. Again, I'm fine that you're getting the normal version of the Battle Tome as well for those of us that want to collect those. I'm sure I'll be picking up probably both, to be fair. But in the first instance, For the armies that I've already got and the law's not changed a great deal, for like my Maggotkin for example, I will be getting the Gamers Edition. Probably the same with my Slaves to Darkness. The Stormcast one, I may buy the full version because I'm not 100% on the Stormcast lore. This will be the first time I've ever really kind of dabbled with them. And perhaps the Soulblight as well. I'm kind of tempted to go for the Gamers Edition on that, but we'll see. Well, what do you guys think? I'm super interested to know what you think about everything that's gone on in this. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you liked this video, then do give me a like and a subscribe. Next week, I will have the Stormcast painting tutorial from my Ruination Chamber scheme that I promised. That'll be the first part. It's going to be split down into 3 parts over the next 3, 4, 5 weeks. I don't know how long, whether I'm going to do them every week or every other week, probably every other week. But the first part of that tutorial will be the armor coming next Monday. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this weekend's reveals. I would love to know what you guys think. Do let me know down in the comments. I'm going to leave it from there. Have a good hobby week, and I'll catch you guys next week. See ya.